welcome those touched by truth's unveiling. The truth, a patient predator, always finds its prey even when the mouth is sealed shut by the glue of fear. For years you carried the unbearable burden of whispers, accusations, and carefully crafted falsehoods that were never yours to own. Did you know that research suggests a staggering 95% of fabricated narratives crumble when even a single insider decides to break their silence? That implies everything meticulously built against you. Every insidious rumor, every calculated manipulation, every deliberate misstep was fundamentally weak, waiting for the crucial moment when someone could no longer bear the weight of their complicity. Now envision the scene: the very architect who helped erect the edifice of lies that suffocated you is teetering on the precipice of confession. The walls themselves seem to tremble as the story they deemed unbreakable begins to fracture. It's akin to witnessing a seasoned illusionist botch the trick everyone believed was flawless. And yes, it's as satisfying as seeing the puppeteer's strings exposed after years of manipulating your image. This is more than mere revelation. It's the earth-shattering moment when your authentic reality irrevocably collides with the obscured truth. The world that once cast doubt upon you is about to witness the ugly face of the lie in the harsh light of day. And for the first time, you are not the one struggling to be believed. Someone else is finally articulating the events exactly as they unfolded. And the consequences, oh, they are exquisitely inevitable. Prepare yourselves. What's coming is not just a simple admission, it's the precise instant your vindication becomes unavoidable, undeniable, and gloriously unstoppable. Number 1, the architect of the lie is collapsing beneath the crushing weight of their own guilt. The architect of the lie is collapsing beneath the crushing weight of their own guilt. For years, they meticulously constructed a narrative designed to control public perception, distort reality to their liking, and paint you in the most unfavorable light imaginable. At first, it might have seemed like a minor indiscretion, perhaps even a cleverly executed maneuver. But over time, lies accumulate mass, and the burden of carrying them becomes intolerably exhausting. Every word they uttered, every half-truth they twisted was a brick in a structure fundamentally unsound and never intended to last. Deep down, they harbored this knowledge all along. The human psyche is inherently wired to detect dishonesty. And even when the external world remains oblivious, the individual burdened with the full scope of their deception can never truly escape the internal reverberations of their actions. It's like being shadowed by a relentless specter, constantly reminding them that the truth inevitably will surface. Now that day has arrived. The guilt they so diligently suppressed, rationalized, or outright ignored has reached a critical tipping point. It's no longer a subtle unease. It's an overwhelming force demanding release. Their conscience, long dismissed and overridden by self-serving motives, has grown too deafening to ignore. They begin to confront the profound harm they've inflicted, the relationships they've poisoned, and the sacred trust they've irrevocably shattered. Each lie they helped forge against you becomes a distorted mirror reflecting their own moral bankruptcy. What renders this collapse so powerfully compelling is its sheer, unstoppable nature. No amount of desperate rationalization or fervent denial can contain it once the weight becomes unbearable. This is the moment of ultimate decision: continue perpetuating the charade or confess the truth. And in choosing to speak, they inadvertently become your most potent ally. Their admission doesn't simply exonerate you. It exposes the entirety of the lie for what it truly is: fragile, hollow, and ultimately unsustainable. The irony is sharp and cutting. The person who once believed they held dominion over the narrative finds themselves utterly powerless, trapped by the very chains of their own conscience. They are crumbling not because of external pressures, but because the human mind cannot indefinitely suppress the truth it recognizes at its very core. Your vindication doesn't stem from relentless confrontation or irrefutable proof, but from their utter inability to carry the lie for another moment. The very individual who sought to manipulate reality against you now becomes the deliverer of the ultimate evidence of your innocence, revealing far more about themselves than they ever intended. This is not just a confession. It is the complete and utter collapse of a meticulously constructed illusion, and the consequences of their profound guilt ignite the spark that liberates the truth. Number 2, the lie was never structurally sound. It was a flimsy facade, a house built on shifting sands. The lie was never structurally sound. The elaborate construct they attempted to erect against you was nothing more than smoke and mirrors, a deceptive mirage. From its inception, it relied entirely on deception, manipulative tactics, and the fervent hope that no one would dare to examine it closely enough to discern the cracks. Lies can appear convincing when skillfully woven, but they possess an inherently fragile core. They are sustained by fear, calculated distractions, and the coerced compliance of others. The instant a single element is challenged or questioned, the entire structure begins to wobble precariously, because falsehoods lack the internal fortitude to withstand scrutiny. Every statement made, every whisper circulated, every carefully calculated misrepresentation was meticulously designed to convince the world that reality was something fundamentally different from what it was. But irrespective of how skillfully it was concealed, the unvarnished truth persisted, patiently waiting to emerge. What renders such lies so insidious is the illusion of permanence they project. The individuals who conceived it acted as if it were destined to endure eternally, that their distorted version of events would be etched into collective memory and accepted without question. They presumed unwavering loyalty from others who had no valid reason to trust a narrative built upon the quicksand of manipulation. Yet beneath the clever facades, the core of the story was fundamentally hollow. Lies demand constant vigilance. They require perpetual maintenance, constant excuses, and relentless reinforcement. A single slip, a solitary, honest voice, a lone individual willing to utter the unvarnished truth, and the entire precarious structure begins to unravel. The astonishing aspect of this moment is that the unraveling process becomes unstoppable once initiated. The lie might have deceived people for a time, but it was never equipped to withstand the force of integrity. Truth requires no defense. It does not yield or shatter under pressure. Once someone intimately connected to the deception decides to speak honestly, the walls of falsehood crumble with remarkable speed. The mirrors shatter, the smoke dissipates, and everything that seemed convincingly real is exposed for what it was, a pathetic attempt to manipulate perception without a foundation in reality. For you, the exposure of this inherently hollow narrative transcends simple vindication. It serves as irrefutable proof that nothing built on deceit can ever attain lasting permanence. The individuals who sought to control your narrative through lies believed themselves to be powerful. But power constructed on falsehood is inherently temporary. Your resilience was not about proving your worth to anyone. It was about enduring something inherently unstable. And now, as someone finally prioritizes truth over convenience, the lie disintegrates completely, leaving only what is genuine and undeniable: your integrity, your authentic reality, and the irrefutable fact that deception can never ultimately eclipse honesty. Number 3, someone is embracing courage over comfort. Someone is embracing courage over comfort. And that single pivotal choice marks the definitive turning point in the twisted narrative that has been maliciously crafted against you. For years, the individual entangled in the lie had a straightforward path: remain silent, avoid any confrontation, and shield themselves from any potential backlash. Silence was expedient, comfortable, and undeniably safe. It allowed them to evade the risk of alienation, criticism, or potentially damaging conflict. Speaking the truth, conversely, has never been the easy option. Admitting involvement in deception means exposing oneself, becoming vulnerable, and accepting accountability for their actions. It's a step into uncharted territory, and the vast majority of individuals avoid it because the allure of comfort frequently outweighs the call of integrity. But when someone finally rises to the occasion, everything undergoes a radical transformation. Choosing courage over comfort isn't merely about acknowledging a past transgression. It's about accepting the full spectrum of consequences that accompany honesty. It's about risking reputation, personal relationships, and social standing for the unwavering pursuit of what is inherently right. And the instant they act, the lie they helped sustain loses its potency. No amount of clever arguments, manipulative tactics, or fervent denial can endure in the face of someone's courageous decision to reveal the truth. Their courage becomes the catalyst that validates your experiences and dismantles the false narrative. What makes this moment so extraordinarily powerful is the fundamentally human element at its core. The majority of individuals act in their own self-interest, prioritizing self-preservation above all else. That is why their admission carries such profound weight. It's not mandated by legal obligation, ethical principles, or a fear of imminent exposure. It is a conscious, deliberate choice to act in accordance with what is right despite the potential for significant personal risk. That decision reflects a fundamental shift in perspective, a recognition that the lie in which they participated has profound consequences, far exceeding the value of short-term comfort. For you, the impact is both immediate and profoundly meaningful. You are no longer obligated to struggle to prove your innocence or confront every fabricated accusation. Their courage carries the truth forward in a manner that you could not have coerced or manufactured on your own. It exposes the lie in its full ugliness and positions you as the individual who endured, while the world begins to witness the spectacular collapse of deception. Ultimately, someone embracing courage over comfort serves as a potent reminder that truth is at its most powerful when it emerges from the crucible of bravery. It's the moment when fear loses its grip, lies are revealed for the hollow constructs they are, and justice transcends the need for your passionate defense. It arrives organically because someone finally mustered the resolve to do what they should have done from the very beginning. Their choice changes everything, and you become the silent beneficiary of a moral victory that could not have been achieved without it. Number 4, their words possess more force than any defense you could have assembled. Their words possess more force than any defense you could have assembled. For years, you might have painstakingly prepared explanations, diligently collected evidence, and fervently attempted to convince people to perceive the truth. But all of those efforts, regardless of their merit, could never possess the same weight as an admission from someone directly implicated in the deception. When they speak, they transcend the mere presentation of facts. They embody the living confirmation of everything you've articulated and endured. Their voice transforms into the ultimate testimony because it originates from the very source that once contributed to the propagation of falsehood. It's no longer a matter of opinion or speculation. It's a living, undeniable account that validates your reality in the face of doubt. This revelation doesn't merely defend you, it annihilates the narrative that was meticulously constructed against you. Every lie that was carefully crafted to manipulate perception begins to crumble the instant their words are uttered. The falsehood that appeared untouchable suddenly forfeits all credibility. Individuals who were skeptical, indifferent, or even actively hostile are compelled to confront the truth, and they are powerless to ignore it. Their admission slices through years of accumulated deception with a precision that no argument or piece of evidence you could have produced could match. What you might have labored to prove over a protracted period, they are confirming instantaneously, and the impact is absolute. The individual speaking the truth doesn't merely exonerate you. They hand every observer undeniable proof that reality cannot be manufactured indefinitely. Lies thrive on repetition, the illusion of consensus, and the deafening silence of dissent. But a single honest voice shatters the carefully constructed spell. The audience witnesses a moment of profound moral reckoning, and that experience possesses far greater weight than any meticulously crafted speech or legal argument. It is raw, direct, and impossible to dismiss. People perceive the human element, the unmistakable acknowledgement of wrongdoing, the inherent courage to admit guilt, and the unadulterated authenticity that cannot be faked. Simultaneously, their words completely redistribute the balance of power. The individual who once wielded influence through deceit finds themselves utterly powerless, and the truth they reveal automatically elevates your standing. You are no longer obligated to fight or persuade. The confession accomplishes that objective for you. In that singular moment, the universe seems to realign itself, providing undeniable proof that false narratives are inherently temporary. But honesty, once vocalized, resonates indefinitely. Their admission doesn't merely vindicate, It transforms the perceptions of every individual involved, and it irrevocably alters the course of the story. Number 5, lies cannot endure in the company of conscience. Lies cannot endure in the company of conscience. Every deliberate falsehood thrives in the shadows amidst calculated distractions, and in the silence of those who possess the truth, but lack the courage to voice it. Lies can flourish and proliferate when they are not questioned, when individuals choose to avert their gaze, or when fear silences potential witnesses. They feed on manipulation and secrecy, preying on hesitation, lingering doubt, and the audacious hope that no one will dare to challenge them. But the moment an individual with a clear conscience chooses to act, everything undergoes a profound transformation. The lie begins to shed its carefully constructed cover. The shadows it relied upon vanish, and the truth begins to surge forward naturally without requiring any conscious effort. You are no longer compelled to argue, to continuously prove your worth, or to relentlessly pursue validation. When conscience intervenes, it functions as a force of nature, undeniable and inexorable. The individual admitting the truth need not perform elaborate justifications, exaggerate their role, or desperately convince anyone. Their inherent honesty alone dismantles the edifice of falsehood. What was once meticulously controlled and strategically disseminated begins to unravel organically. Lies are inherently brittle. They can only persist for as long as the deception is actively maintained. The presence of a functioning conscience is analogous to introducing a flood of light into a sealed, darkened room. Everything the lie attempted to conceal becomes instantly visible. This is why the precise timing of the revelation of truth is of such critical importance. It need not rush to your immediate rescue. It simply requires the presence of the right agent to initiate the process. That agent is frequently an individual who was directly involved in the deception or intimately connected to those who were. Their willingness to acknowledge the wrong, even partially, is frequently enough to spark a chain reaction. Suddenly, individuals who were previously misled begin to question the veracity of the established narrative. Inconsistencies are exposed, and the lie progressively loses credibility. What took years to meticulously construct can collapse in mere moments, because lies lack any viable defense against the purity of honesty guided by an awakened conscience. The unstoppable nature of this process is profoundly transformative. You need not force evidence, confront every skeptic, or constantly defend your reputation. Conscience accomplishes all of that for you. The lie, irrespective of its intricacy, cannot endure when truth begins to operate through heightened human awareness and a restored sense of moral clarity. The moment an individual chooses integrity over silence, the falsehood falters, demonstrating to everyone involved that dishonesty is never permanent, and that the human mind, when aligned with honesty, becomes an unstoppable force that even the most carefully constructed lies cannot withstand. Number 6. The betrayer transforms into the whistleblower. The betrayer transforms into the whistleblower, and within that transformation lies a power that few could have anticipated. The individual who once aided in the construction of a narrative designed to inflict harm upon you now possesses the most potent weapon for your vindication: their own voice. Every detail they once twisted Every misrepresentation they once supported now holds the potential to be reversed, unequivocally acknowledged, and decisively corrected. Their shift in perspective transforms what was once an instrument of destruction into a force that restores truth and justice in a manner that no external argument or piece of evidence could achieve. This shift is profoundly significant because it completely rewrites the assigned roles within the narrative. The betrayer who once stood firmly on the side of deceit now assumes a position of accountability. Their confession transcends a simple admission of being wrong. It constitutes an active dismantling of the very lies that were wielded against you. With each admission, they erode the credibility of the false narrative they actively helped to sustain. The irony is piercing. The very individual who contributed to your suffering now becomes the agent of your liberation, providing undeniable proof that human choices can undergo dramatic shifts when the force of conscience intervenes. The impact of this dramatic reversal extends far beyond the individual moment of confession. Others who witnessed or were significantly affected by the lie are compelled to confront the unvarnished truth in a manner that is impossible to deny. The betrayer's acknowledgement carries an inherent authenticity that no third-party testimony could match because they were present at the very genesis of the falsehood. Their words serve as a crucial bridge between your lived reality and the perceptions of the world around you, aligning facts with honesty and eradicating doubt wherever it has taken root. For you, this transformation transcends mere validation. It constitutes the ultimate shift in power dynamics. The betrayal that once weighed so heavily upon you now becomes the instrument of your liberation. You are no longer forced to fight this battle alone. The individual who helped forge the chains is now actively breaking them. Their actions illuminate the inherent fragility of lies, the indomitable strength of conscience, and the inevitable triumph of truth. In this pivotal moment, the betrayer ceases to be an enemy, nor simply a detached witness. They become a crucial agent in the restoration of your reputation, your credibility, and your fundamental peace of mind, demonstrating that even those who once contributed to harm can play a pivotal role in the restoration of justice. Number 7, the truth illuminates the depths of human weakness. The truth illuminates the depths of human weakness in ways that are often unsettling but undeniably illuminating. When an individual finally confesses, it exposes the latent cracks in their character, the vulnerabilities they desperately attempted to conceal, and the undeniable limitations of ego and ambition when weighed against the unwavering force of conscience. The lies they helped to spread were never an accurate reflection of your inherent value or your capabilities. They served as a distorted mirror reflecting their own fears, insecurities, and morally questionable compromises. Every misrepresentation, every calculated distortion, every deliberate omission was rooted in inherent weakness, not genuine strength. Confession tears away the illusion of control. Individuals who orchestrate or actively contribute to lies often do so from a position of blatant self-interest with the explicit aim of protecting their status, their reputation, or their perceived advantages. Their actions might have appeared strategic at the time, But when the truth inevitably emerges, it becomes transparently clear that what they relied on most was not intellectual prowess or genuine power, but rather the fragility of their own character. Their overinflated ego convinces them that they are untouchable. Unbridled ambition convinces them that the ends unequivocally justify the means. And overwhelming fear convinces them that silence is inherently safer than honesty. Ultimately, all of these are fundamental weaknesses that collapse under the relentless pressure of a functioning conscience. For you, witnessing this profound confession is utterly revelatory. It facilitates a shift in perspective from simmering anger or lingering resentment to a deeper sense of understanding and even a degree of cathartic vindication. You begin to perceive that the harm directed at you was never an accurate reflection of your inherent flaws, but rather a projection of someone else's deeply rooted inner turmoil. Their orchestrated lie was a maladaptive defense mechanism, a desperate attempt to cope with their own perceived inadequacy, not an accurate judgment of your inherent reality. This awareness completely transforms the overall narrative. The individual who appeared powerful enough to manipulate circumstances is ultimately revealed as someone so profoundly weak that they required deception to feel secure. The fragility exposed by their confession also serves as a potent reminder of fundamental human imperfection. Everyone is undeniably capable of error, moral compromise, and engaging in fear-driven behavior. What fundamentally differentiates the genuinely courageous from the inherently weak is the unwavering willingness to confront those failures openly. By confessing, they not only acknowledge their own blatant shortcomings, but also enable the truth to restore balance, demonstrating that vulnerability can ultimately serve the overarching cause of justice. In the end, the revelation transcends the simple act of clearing your name. It highlights the vast disparity between strength authentically built on truth and the illusion of strength fabricated on the foundation of lies. The depths of human weakness are starkly illuminated, and through that unflinching exposure, your inherent integrity and unwavering resilience shine even brighter, completely untouched by the distortions that were once deliberately aimed at you. Number 8. Exposure compels others to confront their own complicity. Exposure compels others to confront their own complicity in ways that are often uncomfortable but profoundly revealing. When the truth finally surfaces, it doesn't merely vindicate you. It shines a harsh and unforgiving light on every individual who remained silent, deliberately averted their gaze, or played even a peripheral role in allowing the lie to persist and fester. Individuals who perceived themselves as mere observers, innocent bystanders, or harmless participants suddenly find themselves forced to confront the profound consequences of their inaction. The weight of their collective silence becomes painfully visible, and they are compelled to examine their choices, their underlying motives, and their morally questionable compromises. The immense power of this forced confrontation lies in its inherent inevitability. Once the unvarnished truth has been vocalized, there is no longer any refuge behind contrived excuses, calculated distractions, or carefully parsed half-truths. Those who contributed indirectly through idle gossip, blatant negligence or passive endorsement suddenly find themselves inextricably drawn into the unfolding revelation. Their discomfort is both immediate and unmistakable. It manifests in the palpable tension of their responses, the hesitant quality of their words, and the intense internal reckoning that they can no longer escape. Even without a single accusatory confrontation from you, the unadorned truth compels them to acknowledge their implicit role. For you, witnessing this uncomfortable reckoning is a subtle but undeniably powerful form of justice. You are no longer obligated to relentlessly convince anyone to constantly defend yourself or to painstakingly expose the lie piece by piece. The act of exposure accomplishes all of that for you. Others are compelled to confront their own actions or their lack thereof, and in that pivotal moment they experience the inevitable repercussions of what they knowingly allowed to transpire. It is a quiet but profoundly significant vindication, one that doesn't rely on passionate argument or direct confrontation, but rather on the undeniable clarity of restored reality. This transformative process also serves as a powerful reminder that truth inevitably generates a ripple effect. Lies depend on the cooperation, the sustained silence, or the active complicity of more than one individual to successfully thrive. Once the core lie is inevitably revealed, it triggers a powerful chain reaction. Individuals who initially believed themselves to be unaffected or uninvolved are suddenly and irrevocably implicated, their inaction exposed for what it was, and their moral equilibrium fundamentally unsettled. This exposure compels accountability not only for those individuals directly involved in perpetuating the deception, but also for those who consciously enabled it by remaining passively silent. So there you have it. After all the shadows and deception, the core message shines through. Truth, though sometimes delayed, is ultimately unstoppable. It has a way of dismantling even the most intricately woven lies, especially when courage steps forward and someone chooses integrity over comfort. The process might be painful, exposing hidden weaknesses and forcing uncomfortable self-reflection, but the end result is vindication, liberation, and a world finally aligned with authenticity. What are your thoughts on all of this? Have you ever experienced a similar situation where the truth unexpectedly surfaced? I'd love to hear your stories, questions, or any insights you might have in the comments below. Let's start a conversation. And if this message resonated with you, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on future explorations of truth, resilience, and the power of the human spirit. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching.